Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Jessica Flynn and I am the owner and maker of Flynn Sisters Boutique. And today we're making a dragon cup for my niece. This is for her birthday and I've never made a dragon cup before, so we're just gonna jump right into it. I cut these dragon scales with my Cricut out of some cardstock that I had laying around my craft room, like one of those just generic scrapbook paper pads. And I cut the scales using the medium cardstock setting, I think it was. And I just cut them at the same size that they were already sized with in the file that I bought for this. I will link the file that I used in the description box. But we're not going to use all of these scales for our design. I'm just going to make kind of patches of scales randomly around the cup in varying sizes and positions, but I want the orientation of all the scales to be in the same direction. I'm using my hot glue gun to apply it to my cup. I've already sanded to prep my cup and wiped it off with some rubbing alcohol and a paper towel. I'm just going to keep placing these clusters of scales all the way around the cup until I'm happy with the amount of coverage I've got with them. Keeping in mind, I'm going to be adding a lot of colorants in our swirl later, so I don't really need to cover the entire cup with scales. If you wanted to do that, you could do that, but I didn't have a lot of time this week. This was kind of a last minute idea, so this is what this is what we're rolling with. Once I've got all of my scales applied, I'm going to seal our paper with a water-based urethane sealer. You could use anything for this. I'm using CC DIY's Quick Coat. Again, this is just a water-based urethane sealer. It's going to seal the paper underneath the epoxy. You could also use just regular Mod Podge or Maker's Magic from Scorch Marker, whatever your favorite product is as a sealer. I'm going to apply mine using a gloved finger so I don't ruin a brush. And you really just want to smooth this on, concentrating on the scales on to the side and under, just really get them nicely sealed. And I did this 3 times, letting it dry 45 minutes between each layer. Once that paper was fully sealed and dry, I spray painted my whole cup with a flat black spray paint. As soon as my paint was dry, I'm going to apply my adhesive for our mica powders today. I'm using Wicked Stick It from wickedshimmersupply.com, and I'm going to pour about 7 milliliters or so into a medicine cup, and using a gloved hand, I'm going to spread it evenly and thinly all the way around the cup, avoiding pooling or streaks. Once we've applied an even layer all the way around the cup, I'm going to let this dry until it's fully clear and glossy. You can use a blow dryer or a heat gun to help speed up the drying process if you'd like, but don't let your heat gun get too hot on the adhesive as it could bubble up and ruin your coat. Once this is fully dry, and I know it's fully dry because it's nice and glossy, we're going to take this eyeshadow brush. I don't remember where I got this, but any kind of like fluffy eyeshadow blending brush is perfect for this. We're just going to dump it right into our mica powder pot. I don't know if this is actually mica powder. It's some kind of like shifty pigment. I got it from Cal & Grace Designs. This is Celestial Glow, and I will link it down below in the description box. But you're just going to brush it directly onto the cup. This is a little bit messy, but most of the product sticks onto the adhesive and doesn't fly away. The more that you brush around in these little circle sweeping motions, the wider spread of product that you're going to get, and you want to keep spreading it out until it's fully adhered to the tumbler and there's not any excess remaining on the surface. I'm alternating between this kind of blue, shifty purple one and the pink and purple one. I don't remember the name of the second one, but I promise I will have this one listed below. I also got this one from Cal & Grace Designs. But between color sections, you're just going to kind of loosely blend with your brush, and you're just going to bounce back and forth. You don't have to worry about any remaining product contaminating the next pot because not a lot is really left on the brush after you fully brushed it into the adhesive. I'm going to repeat these steps all the way around the cup until I'm happy with the saturation of color I've gotten between the 2 different mica powders. When we're done, we should have something that looks like this. Now I'm ready to move on to our next step. I've mixed 60 milliliters of epoxy here, and I'm probably not going to use all of it, but I'm going to apply a little bit less than 30 milliliters of that onto my cup, really trying to get my epoxy into all of the cracks and crevices from those scales and just get some good solid coverage. I'm going to let that roll for a couple minutes, and while that's rolling, we're going to mix our colorants into the remaining amounts of epoxy. I'm going to divide the remaining amounts of epoxy into 4 different medicine cups, and I will list the colorants that I'm using down below in the description box. But mainly what we're using here is a black epoxy dye. We're going to use that Celestial Glow pigment powder that we used earlier. We're going to use some purple glitter and some really pretty shifty, chunky holographic glitter. I'm going to start with the black colorant that we mixed with the black epoxy dye. And using my stir stick, I'm just going to kind of traipse that through to create a swirl pattern, adding and subtracting until I like the balance and flow of the black placement. Next, I'll take the Celestial Glow and kind of do the same thing. It's kind of the balance between a traipse and a drizzle, I guess, is how we're putting this onto the cup. But we don't want to do too much. We don't want to just slop it on there. I'm being very deliberate in where and how I'm applying this. You'll see that I kind of put the Celestial Glow in through the black, and it's beautiful how those pigment powders will almost suspend in that black epoxy. It's really pretty. It makes for a beautiful effect. You'll also notice that I haven't applied any heat yet to the cup. The only heat that I've applied is I did torch the epoxy that we initially spread onto the cup that had no colorants in it, just to pop any kind of bubbles. But from here, we won't apply any additional heat because I don't want to get too much movement from my colorants. I want to control where they're going. Next, I'm going to add in the purple glitter that we mixed in with our epoxy. This is from Peachy Olive Glitters, and it's called Barney. It's absolutely beautiful with this kind of shifty, purpley, really ethereal fantasy design. I love it. After I'm happy with the placement of that, I'll go in with the most boldest colorant that we're adding, and that's this chunky holographic mix that I got from itsprettypersonal.com. I don't remember the glitter name off the top of my head, but again, you guys, I'm going to have all these colorants listed in the description box. Finally, I'm going to go around with like a clean stir stick and just sort of edit our design here. If there's anything that looks a little too clumpy or I need to feather out one of the colors, I'm just going to do that, making sure to wipe off the stick between colorants so I don't contaminate and make it look too muddled up. I'm going to let this roll for about 6 hours, and then we're coming right back over the top of that with a fresh clear coat of epoxy. This is my Artist Cure formula, and this is what I'm going to use for all subsequent coats until we get this smooth enough for it to be finished. Because of the texture that you're getting from the dragon scales, it's going to take a lot of epoxy to get this completely smooth, and I don't really want to make this cup too heavy, and I kind of like the idea of some of that texture coming through that final layer. So there isn't like sharp edges coming through and there's not raw paper coming through. That's not the case at all. It's just the epoxy is not completely glass smooth. There is a little bit of texture and feel from those scales, and I kind of like that. I would rather have that than have a super heavy cup for a young kid who, let's be honest, will probably eventually grow out of this or drop it or damage it anyway. So I love how this turned out. I had so much fun creating this cup. I'm kind of excited to make another dragon design. I'm a huge fan of Game of Thrones, so I might just have to make one for me. But that's it for this tutorial. I hope you guys loved it. Let me know what you thought in the comments. And if you liked my video, please be sure to give us a big thumbs up. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. I upload new videos every week. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you again soon. And a big thank you to all of our Flynn Sisters exclusive members. Thank you for your pledge. Your support means the world to our channel. If you love this video, you could check out our last video here. Also be sure to find us on Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, and of course subscribe for all our new videos that come out every Wednesday and Saturday. Thanks so much for watching. See you soon.